let's dive in. There's this relationship in the sports world that has really got people talking. A pretty fascinating and maybe for some, a surprising connection.
Yeah, we're talking about Bill Belichick, right? The legendary former Patriots coach. He's 73.
Exactly. And Jordon Hudson, who's 24. She's an entrepreneur, former cheerleader.
Wow. Yeah, that's a 49-year age difference. That alone is going to generate discussion, isn't it?
For sure, and it really has. So we're going to do a deep dive using a news piece that lays out some details about them, the reactions, who they are.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And our mission here is, well, to unpack it all, right? Get past the headlines, understand the relationship, the reactions, the people involved, give folks a clearer picture.
Precisely. Not just the gossip, but the context.
Okay, so where do we start? I guess the initial public reaction is a big part of this story.
No, absolutely. It kind of exploded, didn't it? Especially around the roast of Tom Brady back in May.
Right. Even though she wasn't actually pictured with him there, the jokes were flying.
They really were. And pretty pointed ones. Rob Gronkowski, never holds back. He joked about Belichick scouting her at a high school.
Oof. Yeah, that immediately brings the age gap right to the forefront, doesn't it? It kind of plays on that discomfort some people feel.
It does. Why do you think those jokes land like that in a public roast?
Well, it's shock value, partly, and maybe it taps into stereotypes. A big age gap is, well, different. So it's easy fodder for comedy, especially in that kind of anything-goes setting.
Makes sense. And Brady's line, too, about Belichick slinking out of her house early in the morning.
Yeah, that paints a picture, definitely. A stereotypical one, maybe, feeding into certain assumptions about, power dynamics or whatever.
But what's interesting is how Jordon Hudson reacted to all that.
Right, she didn't just ignore it.
Not at all. She put up this Instagram post referencing a 6-month roast anniversary and joked they needed, Bessatracin for the burns.
Huh, yeah. That shows some resilience and a sense of humor about it, which is probably a smart way to handle it, saying, yeah, we heard you, but okay.
Totally. Sort of deflecting with humor. A deliberate strategy, maybe?
Could be. And after that, they weren't exactly hiding.
No, just a month later, boom, red carpet debut at the American Museum of Natural History Gala. That felt like a statement.
A pretty clear one. Yeah, we're together publicly.
And then Belichick takes the UNC job.
University of North Carolina. Oh. And she's been visible there, too.
Yeah, she declared herself overtly committed to the football program, which sounds supportive, as a partner.
Right. But then came that TikTok video.
Oh, yeah, the microphone adjustment at practice. That went viral.
It really did. And the speculation just took off, didn't it? What was your take on why that small moment blew up?
I think people just want to categorize things, maybe, especially when something seems unconventional. Like, what's her role? Is she advising him, influencing things?
Exactly. It highlights how public figures, their relationships, everything becomes fair game for interpretation. We want to put labels on things.
And the actual reason was, well, less dramatic.
Right. She's apparently part of a documentary crew following his transition to college coaching, something originally for NFL films like Hard Knocks.
So a professional reason to be there. Well, the sidelines, not just,
Not just as the girlfriend, but then there was that email leak or report.
Yeah. The December email, Belichick asking for her to be copied on UNC football's social media and web content emails.
So she could keep up with our postings. That does raise some eyebrows again, doesn't it? What's the extent of her involvement?
It does make you wonder, does he value her input on their image or just want her in the loop? Could be either, I suppose, or both.
Could be. And she's definitely showing support visually, too.
Oh, yeah, wearing the Carolina blue and white. There was that picture in a 24 UNC basketball jersey.
So she's embracing the whole UNC thing. But she's also spoken out directly about the relationship itself and the scrutiny.
That Valentine's Day Instagram post, that was quite something, really tackled the age gap head on.
Yeah, what was the quote? Something like,
there is no objective criteria for what constitutes someone's worthiness of love. We do not need to justify why we love a particular person.
Right. And she talked about biological preferences being deeply personal and owing no explanation.
What did you make of that? It felt very deliberate.
Very assertive. It's like, this is our business. It sounds grounded in, well, her philosophy background probably helps there. This idea that love isn't something you measure by outside rules.
And she didn't just talk about them. She broadened it out.
Yeah, saying love does not discriminate against sex, skin color, religion, age, or ability, and condemning harassment based on who someone loves.
Which feels like a direct pushback against any negativity they've gotten.
Absolutely. It's a strong stance, like, judge us if you want, but we reject that judgment. And she's shown she'll clap back directly, too.
Oh, yeah, that Instagram story response. Someone called their relationship insane in a DM.
And she screenshotted it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
called them out for harassing strangers via DM and corrected their grammar, used your instead of your.
Wow. Okay, that takes some confidence. Not just ignoring the trolls, but engaging like that.
Definitely sends a message. So, okay, backing up. How did this whole thing even start? How did they meet?
The article says it was on a flight back in 2021.
Right. Belichick was heading into what turned out to be his last Patriots season. And she was, what, a student and champion cheerleader at Bridgewater State?
Yeah, Bridgewater State.
Yeah.
And getting her cosmetology license, too. So very different points in their lives and careers, clearly.
Worlds apart, almost. He's this established NFL icon. She's, building her own path.
But they obviously connected. And the anniversary stories are kind of interesting.
The Meetiversary, yeah. For the fourth one, she got him to sign her copy of a deductive logic textbook.
Uh-huh. And he wrote something like, "Thanks for giving me a course on logic. Safe travels."
That's really almost charmingly awkward. Very Belichick, maybe.
It hints at a different side, perhaps. A shared interest there. And her caption joked about still giving him lengthy philosophical lectures.
So maybe more going on than just, the surface stuff. It suggests some actual shared ground.
It seems like it. And interestingly, she apparently admitted they did not bond over football initially.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah, said she'd never watched a pro football game before meeting him. Which makes it kind of funny that she ended up making that, tribute jacket for him for a future Super Bowl.
Huh. So the connection wasn't built on his fame or his sport, necessarily. It developed.
Seems that way. It underlines that relationships can spark in unexpected ways. Now, just for context, his relationship history.
Right. The article mentions his long relationship with Linda Holliday, about 16 years. Ended around 2023.
Mm-hmm. And before that, married for, nearly 30 years to Debbie Clark.
Yeah, and they have 3 grown kids, Amanda, Steve, and Brian.
And Steve and Brian are now coaching with him at UNC, right?
They are. So there's a whole family dynamic there, too, in this new chapter. It's not just him and Jordon.
As another layer. And Jordon has her own things going on, too, separate from him.
Definitely. The Miss Maine USA pageant, for instance, representing her hometown, and her platform is about protecting local fishermen's livelihoods. Seems important to her.
Yeah, that shows her own passions, her own ambitions. She's not just Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
Right. And she might compete in Miss USA next year, so that's her own goal she's pursuing.
Good for her. And on his side, there's that little detail about how he shows affection.
Oh, the roses. Yeah, apparently he's a big roses guy.
Right. And Jordan's caption about his stern facade, it kind of humanizes him a bit, doesn't it? Hints at a private side we don't see.
Totally. It's easy to forget these public figures have, actual personal lives that are more complex.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
And look, to put the age gap thing in perspective, the article brings up other celebrity couples.
Yeah, that was interesting. Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor, Heidi Klum, and Tom Collins.
Priyanka Chopra and Mick Jonas. Quite a few examples.
And the sentiment seems pretty consistent across them, doesn't it?
It does. Like Sarah Paulson basically saying, if people have a problem with her relationship, that's their problem. Very direct.
Yeah. And Heidi Klum just focusing on her own happiness, not letting outside noise dictate things.
And Priyanka Chopra brings up the double standard, right?
Yeah.
How it's often viewed differently if the woman is older versus the man.
That's a really crucial point about societal bias, yeah.
And Sam Taylor Johnson, married to Aaron Taylor Johnson, 23 years difference, saying after years together, the age gap just isn't a thing for them anymore. It fades away when the connection is strong.
Which really suggests that ultimately it's the relationship itself that matters, not the external numbers or perceptions.
Exactly. And Dennis Quaid saying something like, "Love finds a way. You can't control who you fall for."
Yeah.
That really echoes what Jordon Hudson herself was saying.
Yeah, that deeply personal nature of it all. Okay, so wrapping this up, it's clear this relationship between Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson has really stirred the pot, from jokes to serious questions about her role.
And we've seen how they've navigated that, especially Jordon being quite vocal, quite assertive, and defending their connection, framing it in terms of personal choice and, love.
Right. Despite the big age difference, the public scrutiny, they seem committed, doing things on their own terms.
And it's worth remembering, this is just a snapshot. Based on this moment in time, things change, relationships evolve, public opinion shifts.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Considering everything we've talked about, the different views on age gaps, the personal statements, what actually makes a relationship valid or successful? Is it fitting into society's boxes, or is it something, fundamentally between the two people involved?
Yeah, that's the real question, isn't it? Definitely something to chew on regarding our own assumptions about relationships.